If you are Michael Jordan, just get accepted to Harvard, or can play piano blindfolded while asleep, this essay is not for you. Okay, Tyler Lopez, scam marketing tactic alert, I know. You have your dreams not just figured out, they are signed, sealed, and delivered, and the hand of God rests close to you. But if not, congratulations, you are normal, and you may find something of value in what I have to say here. So if you get a second to potentially waste in reading, or not reading, listening, about how to follow your dreams, maybe hear me out. But first, who am I? Well, I'm a 30-year-old low-level paralegal who still occasionally dreams big, although less and less these days, I feel like. Generally feels bad they haven't accomplished anything on those aforementioned dreams, and is not particularly talented at anything. If we were to look at the ESPN top 10 highlights of my life in terms of showing talent at anything, they would comprise of the following: making All-State for clarinet in 8th grade, winning a math award in high school, and the fact I used to feel that I am pretty good at writing, at least in terms of speaking a little creatively. Fast forward, I ended up dropping out of band, switching out of a math major in college, and because I failed linear algebra, and had multiple blogs that came to nothing, and now feel like I can barely write slash speak. I mean, really speak. I'm terrible at speaking. Although I guess I will let you be the judge of that. So yeah, I'm not Michael Jordan, did not get accepted to Harvard, and definitely cannot play piano blindfolded while asleep. I am what you may call an average Joe. But oh, you damn well know you're certainly better than average at a lot of things. Come on, don't be negative. And yeah, that is true. But I've come to realize is that yeah, you might be in the top half for some things, but top half is not going to cut it. The thing you had some talent at, writing, you had multiple failed blogs, and you never succeeded in getting published in any of the magazines you tried getting in. You know why? Because they take the top 0.1%. And you were, say, top 10%, if I'm being nice. Does the top 10% of high school basketball players, the one who were the best at their school and thought they were the man, make the NBA? No. In life, competition is genuinely brutal, at least in certain industries, which a lot of people tend to have dreams in. Especially, like I said, especially when your dreams happen to be the dreams of millions of others around the globe. The problem is, like most people, I've always felt I've been called to do something great. Or as my grandmother said, you were going to do something big. So I've always had that belief in me very strongly. And despite the mountain of evidence to the contrary, and the chorus of well-meaning Cope apologists mentioning that is not the lot to expect for 99.999% of people. I think there's some like Tim Dillon thing about that, and it's like you shouldn't tell people to follow your dreams or whatever. And we just need to find meaning in the small things and butterfly effect and yada yada yada. I genuinely do not care. You were trying to get me to not believe in myself and my abilities, and David Goggins, who's going to carry the boat, boys? But yeah, most days I feel like they are right. But to say more calmly, I feel like that way of thinking is more for emotional stability and happiness, and the all caps is more for actually taking care of business and making something happen. As the note unstable Kanye once said, there are two people, the man who thinks that they can and the man who thinks they can. My friend told me this is someone else that came up with this quote. I'm sure he's not the one that invented it, but anyways. Lazy thinkers at this point might say, well, you see, the truth is somewhere in the middle of these two extremes. But that would be boring, and also missing the important point here. To explain, let me tell you a little bit more about myself. That do something big thing for me, I'm fairly convinced, is to own a nonprofit luxury fashion company. Specifically starting with bucket hats, which is ridiculous, I know. And I've spent the majority of my waking moments on this for the last 6 years. And where am I? Still working on a prototype for the first product, which is, I don't feel like moving together. So, when I say that most of my waking moments have been spent on this, trust me when I say that a good amount of my waking thoughts also revolve around feeling insecure that I'm not good enough to actually make this happen. Add on top of this the fact that I was never particularly creative, outside of occasionally dressing weird for fun or something. I used to wear like huge big ties with like this tall in high school, and sometimes a lot of times I'd wear buckets. I didn't have that many, none of them fit my head, but a lot of times I'd wear it like golf on the golf team and stuff. But anyways, I've literally never made a dime in business, and I've been working on different businesses since I was in 3rd grade. I've been doing this forever. I've always been trying to do some business. Never once made a dime on it. And I'm worse at visual spatial intelligence, like engineering, putting stuff together. I cannot put anything together, which is very important to know how to learn to make clothes and stuff, than Shaq is at free throws. No shade on Shaq. He's a great basketball player. And when it comes to fashion, you need all of these things, and you will still fail. I have none, and boy, have I failed. I cannot tell you the amount of days and nights I sat there after yet another thing was screwed up, or how I feel like it is all a waste and I'll never be able to produce anything good and wanted to give up. But the point here, this way. But the point is here, most of the time, my brain feels like it cannot do it. Who am I to think I can make a brand that rival like Chanel, Hermes, all these brands? I can't even sew on a button. Like literally, I've been in this chair right here trying to sew on a button. Can't do it. It always comes off or like something. It's a pain in the ass. You think it'd be something simple. I'm like, who am I? And that's probably right. But there is that small Goggins voice in my head screaming, F that, and cares to deeply to like actually do it. Because first off, like, what else am I doing in my life? Like, if not this, then I'm out of ideas, and so it would be admitting defeat to stop. So first step to following your dreams is to actually listen to that voice. And now you're like, wait, are you kidding me? I made it all the way for this guy to tell me to listen to the voice in my head telling me to go for your dreams? Like, wow, super insightful. Hopefully I get something better after this. We'll see. Well, let me finish. The point I want to make here is that if I just, and you, whoever, just thought that, then I would be depressed about my situation way more. Like, pure hyped up self-belief is a sure way to make sure you're about to feel down about yourself once that Meek Mill song finishes and you realize you still suck and don't know how to do anything. Not sufficient to actually go all the way following your dreams, but it is the necessary precondition. So without this like airhead self-belief, I don't think you'll ever get started. You're like, oh, what? Yeah, I feel like you need that. So go get hyped up. But when you start, and like I said, you realize you don't know anything, and then you think you do, and then you realize you don't, and then you fail. And I think somewhere along this path of up and downs, people get flung off and they go back to normal life, accepting things as they are, and they're like, all right, that's not meant for me. But I think there's two things that keep you strapped in despite all the evidence that you cannot do it. One is working on your dream a habit. That's one big thing, which is not the point of this, but I would listen to James Clear in that. I listened to one video of that, and it was like about these like small habits, and that genuinely like changed my life, because I feel like it used to be like all like inspiration, getting hyped, and then like I'd go to actually do something and I was like, ugh. But like just like the idea that you need to do one thing, like I would always like couldn't bring myself to do anything. So like that was huge, and then like snowballed over time, and then it just becomes like who you are. It's like, oh, I'm just that person. And I was like tape. I get literally these cameras taped to the freaking computer and like with gaff setup. But anyways, yeah, like that was really big. So if that's all you get from this video, that's very important, because I think that was huge for at least a person like me. Yeah. Anyways, so that genuinely changed my life for the better, in terms of getting stuff done. Which, you know, there is more to life than that, but anyways. But the lesser talked about thing, which I think is essentially just as important if you're going to actually do anything, and especially if you're just an average Joe like me, and you don't have that many great talents or whatever, like, and I've come to realize this in my, you know, wise old years. You know, you can see my hairline if I took this off, you know, you gotta keep this on. Is that you genuinely need to accept your lot. Like, in the sense that you probably aren't talented enough. That it is too late, because it probably is. And heck, that you probably don't have enough drive to do it, because you probably don't. There's probably people with way more drive than you that are going to outwork you, that are not going to sleep. There's people that are like not sleeping at all to do fashion company and stuff. Like, I need sleep or else I'm like extraordinarily miserable. Some people can somehow do it. It's not me. But anyways, you need to be okay with that. Like, actually okay. You don't care. Just let the oblivion of your nothingness wash over you and just sit in it. You're okay. We're all going to be forgotten. You're going to be forgotten. Whatever you try to do, the best, the worst, it's all forgotten. It's whatever. You're breathing. You're alive. It is okay. So you need to genuinely accept this in most of your brain. Most of it, at least. I don't know neuroscience, so figure this out on your own. But then if you still do whatever your dream is, and keep going on it. Whether because it gives you maybe a little pressure, just like make it small. Like it doesn't have to be for that big thing. Like in I'm about to steal the punchline. I'm gonna steal the punchline, but then it's still gonna get the punchline. But like I think like you sort of have that in your head, but then you like have this idea that um, no, we refuse to cut. We're not gonna cut. I don't want any cuts in this. I'm not doing any editing. Uh, no, screw it. I'm just gonna keep reading. But then if you still do whatever like your dream is because it gives you a little pleasure, or maybe it is the only thing for you to do without going insane, or maybe you just want to make something for someone you love. Like I don't know, if I just want to make a hat for someone that like, my friend or my mom or something. It's just like, I don't know, just something for me to do. Then just know it is because that little part of your brain, like, damn it, no. I'm too self-critical. But anyways, I'm just gonna go for it. This might not make complete sense. But then just know that that little part of your brain, way deep down and in the back of you, that you now forget about, that used to say, who's gonna carry the boats and the locks, is still there, keeping you afloat. So don't fare well, but fare forward, voyagers. So to recap, I think the important point is like just don't worry about if it actually becomes something. So you're gonna get way too stressed out about it. Like just be okay with it becoming nothing. But then at the same time have that in your head, like I'm gonna do it. But like in a lot of times that won't even be there. Like it's a very fleeting thing. So I think you need the habit. And maybe the habit's just enough for me. I feel like I like psychologically just need to be okay with it not becoming anything. But then also at the same time I'm still like, yeah, I'm gonna make it happen. Just like, which is not necessarily maybe always simultaneous. Some is unconscious, some's conscious, vice versa. Or like sometimes like you might like it might be temporally like you'd think one first, and then you think the other after, but it's sort of like the yin and the yang. I don't know. You need both, I feel like, because especially like it's such a long process to like stick with something. Like I feel like just to like continually hype yourself, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Like you can't. You just gotta be okay with just doing whatever the heck it is to get to where you need to go, and it not becoming anything. And that, I think, is my one point I wanted to make. Hopefully, this brings you some solace. Maybe I need to write an essay on why you should be okay with it not coming to anything. Um, but yeah, that's all I have to say. But hope you enjoyed listening. And hopefully, my eyes were actually looking at the right spot. I'm supposed to look out for this. We'll see. I don't know. I'm looking down, trying to scroll. Anyways.